I just bought this 1980 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray, sight unseen, actually through a couple text messages. I drove from Minnesota down here to southern Tennessee to pick it up. Of course, she doesn't run. No idea if it will. In fact, I don't even have keys. So I did the right thing and already registered it in a burnout contest all the way down in Florida. That seems fine. No, definitely not normal. I'm actually at my aunt and uncle's place, Mike and Kim, and they were gracious enough to let me just barge on in here, and it's so clean in here, I don't even know where to put my feet really. It's quite confusing. But anyway, ribs, had them for supper. I'm going to give you a little bit of a story on this because it warrants a little bit of history, I think. I actually got a lead on this from a subscriber, and he was going to buy it, and he opened the hood, and lo and behold, there was a 6-foot bull snake just kind of hanging out in there. So he said, nope, shut her down. And got a hold of me, and that's when I got, I think, 2 pictures, and they were bad. Thank you, Joe, for the lead, but you need a new camera, or phone, or whatever that was. I'm not quite sure. Kind of looked like a screenshot from a VHS tape, but anywho. Made a deal on it. Unfortunately, the guy that owned this car, he passed away. It is a one-owner rig. 84,000 miles. And then it was sitting on the property, and that feller also did pass away as well. So that's why I'm not working on it there. It was just, it didn't feel, it wasn't, it kind of wasn't, it just, I needed to get out of there, basically. So we loaded it on a trailer. This is on the way to Florida. And hopefully, the goal is tonight, because it's already pretty late, I think it's 8:30, is just, can we make some noise with it, get her just fired? And if it barely runs, we're going to put it back on the trailer and try to get down to Florida, and maybe we'll have some time at rest stops and things of that nature to kind of tinker on it a little bit more. So let's do the usual. We'll walk around her, let you drink it in a little bit, and then we got to jump right in and just see if we can get this thing running. As you can see there, it was sitting in the grass and some, I don't know what kind of bushes they were, but they were angry. They had thorns on them, and they did draw some blood. But it's a shame that this thing sat outside. We're figuring pretty near 10 years, somewhere around there. But some of the plastic is warped, the emblems are shot, and then this paint job, which apparently was not that old, when it got pushed outside, is starting to lift. And when we look at the trim tag in here, I looked this up, and 59L is a light beige. Some called it a cream. I just call it the ugliest color Corvette ever made. So no wonder he went all yeller on her. But there's no weight reduction. That's what I'm just a little excited about. Of course, she's got their fiberglass and plastic and whatnot. She's got the tiger paws on it, so that dates it pretty well. But the rocker panels look nice. No damage over this at all. I don't really see any evidence of it being wrecked when I look at the body lines or how the doors line up. And they worked pretty hard to cover up that beige. Everything in here is painted. They shot her back in here, and then they did a really bad job taping that off. But it was a quick little paint job. But I think it'll clean up pretty nice though, to be honest. And this thing's got just tarantula nests, and I've got King Kong hornet's nests, and I've got some sort of vegetation growing in here. This thing's been flooded more than a thermal quad, I can tell you that. It's really bad. And what's sad is I was told this was all brand new right before it was parked as well. I mean, this door panel you can see is still in relatively good shape, but the door seal here, I don't know, sun or something rotted it out, and that's all it took. When I picked it up today, that floor had, well, there's still actually, if I shake the car, a couple inches of water in there. So that's unfortunate. I don't know what the floorboards look like, and I'm not going to look. She's got a universe roof. These are nice. Sasquatch like myself, you could dip right in and you just pull this lever here, eject on that, get your head up out of here. 80 was the first year for the telescoping wheel, and she had the tilt-o-matic on her as well. And then they moved the door lock buttons from there over to here. There was something else. Oh yeah, the speedometer. The government, you know, made them put it to 85. I think it said 140 before. But 84,000 original miles. Tax stuck at 2,500. Don't know why. We'll fix that. Try to get her down to 7. Not sure. Has all these gauges over here. Don't know if it actually has a quarter tank of fuel in her. I kind of hope not. What kind of radio is this actually? I think this is aftermarket. This is missing. That's missing. It does have air conditioning. It's a 4-speed, which is very desirable. We have to assume it's got the L82 350 because 305s never came with the 4-speed, ever. No idea what this stuff is. We're just going to pretend we didn't see that. In fact, I'll just cover it up in that. Like that. Got the spare tire. What is that actually? So under the interstate battery, we got some sort of ink pen, some more trash, but nothing too exciting. It smells like a wet checkerboard and beef bouillon in here. I mean, it's just really thick. I can't get the window down, so I think I might just leave the door open a little bit while we're tinking on it. But I mean, it's all fixable. This can clean up pretty easy. I got some spray away product, and we'll come in here and just clean all this up real nice. I don't quite have a vacuum. I'll figure that out a little bit later. But as far as the door panels, the seats, the dash pad, all the plastics, I can get that taken care of really easy. And we might even wash it. I got some ceramic wash and some speed detailer from Sprayway we can use on this. You can see there's a tremendous amount of shine left in it, and it's really not that orange peely. I just don't want to grind that dirt into her. But I'll get over here and pop the hood, and we'll see what we got going on under here. So these Corvettes got a pretty bad rap there for a while, late 70s, early 80s. But you got to remember, there was a lot of emission stuff going on. In 79, there was a huge gas crisis. And even amongst all of that, they sold 40-some thousand Corvettes, I believe. And it was, well, you don't want them, they're 180 horse, this and that. But a lot of people were quoting the 5-liter that came out of California, the little 305. This should be an L82. And in 1980, they were about 230 horse, 220 horse. I don't know, 212, we'll say. Depends on who you talk to. And just glancing at this, it's the right color, corporate GM blue. Looks all original, pretty much. AC pump still on it here. I'll bring you in. We got some rodent damage. Not quite sure what you guys got down here in Tennessee, if it's muskrats or mice or buffalo or what it is, but something's eating something back here. We can fix that, just lightning hoses. I see some new parts and things like that. So I'll bring you in and we'll kind of look a little bit closer here at this. There's ants just everywhere on this thing. This particular door is running the anti-theft. I just can't get in it. It's probably locked, but I'm just too lazy to crawl across. So we're gonna skip the glove box for now, but we'll come back around to it a little bit later. Gotta run a gas test here. Got another hornet's nest. Let's see what we got here. It's basically not good. So one of the first things I want to show you, which made this car really unique, and one of the challenges I'm actually going to have, is this is probably the worst car you want for a burnout rig, because, well, they're gutless, and then also they're actually made to get traction completely. So the engine actually sits farther back over what we would consider the cross member in your lower and upper control arms, like in a Monte Carlo, Chevelle, Cutlass, things of that nature. Your engine's usually up here. This is back and down, which moved all the drivetrain down and then brought the driver's compartment back. So there's a ton of weight over the rears. So they're supposed to just grip and rip, you know. But I mean, glancing at this quick, we've had brake master, looks like it was replaced, alternator's been replaced, we've got some aftermarket rad hoses, we've got Excel lightning hoses that have got just, they've been chewed on like nothing else. The smog pump's been, you know, she's Wi-Fi now. Water pump's been replaced. See how that's rusty and this isn't? And we've got some RTV gasket there. What do we got down here? There's a chrome. If you look close, scoot in now. Lean forward. That's not close enough. There you go. Look right there. That's a chrome timing cover. So all of this has been taken off at one point and tinkered on, but we still got manifolds on it. Nothing fancy there. This all looks pretty well factory. They labeled number 1. That's pretty neat. Let's see what we got under here. Should just be your basic quadra junk. Well, there we go. Thought we were gonna have to go to commercial. This is a pretty new air filter, made in the US of A. We'll keep that. That's a Purolator. That's a really good brand, actually. The Misa's been in here for sure. You can see around there, we got some droppings and whatnot. But this looks, I mean, look at this. That is pretty clean. I'm impressed. And she's not locked up. Yep, it's everywhere. But what is this? I don't know. So this is all the emission stuff, I'm guessing. There's just hoses and wires. All we need is power here, and then there's just everything works, you know. You can forget all this other stuff. I'll probably end up just snipping a lot of this out. That's a massive vacuum leak. That's okay. Pretend we didn't see that either. Gonna cut this off right away. Of course, you know, that's worth about 1.7 horsepower. You just get rid of that. So the biggest issue I have today with this thing is I do not have a key for this, literally, for the ignition or the doors or anything. So I'm going to jack this up, put my Lone Wolf 6000 trigger on it, and we'll jump a wire from the lightning whirler. We'll throw a new battery in it, and we'll just see if we can hotwire this thing. I'm not even going to test for spark or nothing, because I ain't got the time. We'll throw some fire maker down it, and we're just going to see what happens. I'm not even going to see if it, yep, tested, sure, rolls over. And I mean, basically, we'll start from there, because I only got a few hours tonight to see if this thing runs. No idea where to jack these up, so we're gonna guess right about here. Nope, right there. See if I'm right. Oh, there you go. Give you a first view underneath here. You can see all the moisture, but nothing's really rotted. I mean, besides every single bushing and tie rod and shock and all of that. But I mean, the metal seems just fine. And then over here, she's had the floor pans replaced before. I'm sure that's when they painted it. And they just ran some self-tappers in and siliconed that. That's fine. She's had exhaust put on it. And then that's a little tiny performance cat. And then I think there's like Flowmasters in the back. So someone really, they might have hopped this up actually. We got a bunch of bare wires here on the starter. We'll just ignore that. Until they start a fire, then we'll attempt to fix it. But for now, we'll let her be. But I'm kind of thinking, with everything I'm seeing on the engine, I wonder, what are the chances that there's a camshaft just slid right in here? Because they'd have to pull the intake, fan, water pump, timing cover, all the stuff that's been replaced or removed. Wouldn't that be handy? I guess we'll see. You guys can comment down below if you think so, cam or no cam. Back here, these might be Flowmasters maybe, or just a generic turbo. For a minute I thought it was straight piped when I was looking from back here. I got really excited, I'm not gonna lie. Might just have to snip those off. You can't have a Corvette that's quiet. But I'll get my trigger in here and hook it up. Try to drop it down from up here if I can. And then I think I got a side post battery, and I'll just put an end on and plug her in there. After 6 or 7 years, guy did have to break down and buy a new one of these, which I just don't like. The wires just aren't, they ain't broken in right. The other one's hanging out of the front of a 63 Skylark or something like that. Western, eastern, southern Minnesota, somewhere over there. But they are handy. I'm just gonna bring that down over here, just snip it in back over here. Get down there, yeah, there we go. And then you just ease under here, like that. We do have some sort, in the past, massive oil leak. We'll just run her low on oil and that should take care of that, I think. Hopefully the starter's good, because it's no way it's coming out with the way they ran the exhaust here. I mean directly below the starter. I can't see nothing. I had a light in my hand, and then I put it back, of course. I can't feel that hand. Switch to this hand? Maybe that'll help. Probably not. There. Nope, that didn't do it either. Which one am I clipping on? Oh, it's my fault. You can't see it, but I messed up. I was going to the wrong bolt on here. Okay, I give up. I need a light. Got a little bit of a loose wheel bearing, maybe. Okay, I'm back now with the light bulb. Oh, I was on the right one. I wasn't executing correctly. This needs to go on there. Right in my eye. Okay, then this one comes right up here. Nope. Yeah. Nope. Oh, is that wire melted off? I don't understand. I think I got a hose in my foot and a rake on the other one. There we go. The wires have turned like a jelly. I've never fought so hard in my life just to get a thing on. Well, what feels like 17 days later, got that. That was easy. Moving on to throwing in the battery. I do have a side post. It's a never start. Probably already dead, but we're going to give it a whirl. In these, they're behind the driver's seat, which is slightly inconvenient. I think I'm going to go on ahead and make some more room in here, because I don't think we need the semi-tire in here. That does look, maybe that is the original one. It says temporary use only, but it doesn't say how long temporary is. So I'm going to keep that, run that on the daily. And this cover, how did they get it in here? The passenger door. Slide that over there. That clamp lays up underneath the tire on the back end there. And this is a side post, sure enough. So I'll get some wrenches and try to get her out. I have this handy little side post wrench, and I never bring it. It sits in my toolbox. Wow, I'm gonna need a bacchiotomy getting this out. There we go. There's a very specific reason I ended up with this battery. Not because I went to the parts store and asked for this model specifically. I actually just randomly grabbed this off the shelf, tried to jam it into a Melrose skid steer, did not fit. Ended up jamming it into a C50 grain truck, vice grip that on. I see I also beat on it a little bit, but it did work for a little while, probably dead. But I'm going to put this in here because it's got the side postulators and we need that. Also, she's got a go handle. Oh, I got dome lightage. I'll be dipped. Guy needs that. Well, that's good news. I also don't smell anything burning yet, which is also good news. There we go. I'm going to jump on that trigger and we'll just tickle on it, see if the engine rotates, and then we'll just dump some Firemaker down it. I lost the dome light already. Dang it. Is it on a timer? Probably not. I suppose the guy better check on the Earl before we keep cranking on her. Oh, this looks fantastic. Legitimately. Has a very subtle graham cracker taste mixed with 74 million tons of dirt. So that's a very good oil. Didn't even look at the filter. I'm sure it's fine. All right, let's see, is it in neutral? We'll find out. What do we got up here? Some sort of Hitachi saw. Hope that doesn't get bent. See if it spins over. Yep, weird electrical noise over there. That's fine. She's spinning pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and retract that. It is no longer spinning. When I was spinning it over there, I think the guy did go on ahead and hear some lightning escaping. You know, it snapilates a little bit. And you can see the jacketing on here. It makes sense. I think my Lone Wolf trigger might got a loose connection down there in the starter. That's why she's not spinning. But we're off to a good start. Somewhere down in there is the fuel pump. Some lines. Normally I disconnect those because I don't want to pull anything from the tank. But I don't got the time. So we're going to risk it. If it plugs up, it plugs up. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, get all this off. And we're just going to direct inject her right down the yap. See if she makes a noise. I do like walnuts, but not down the fuel make it happener. Achievement unlocked. 87 horsepower. If you are wondering why a guy just snippulated that, what is this hanging on my hat? Other than unlocking huge horsepower gains, is the less rotating mass of rotten rubber I have flying at my teeth. That would be slightly convenient. As I'm really getting in here, you could see they were in a little bit of a hurry with that paint job all the way down into here. That's just too bad. I mean, it looks pretty good. This headlight's a little sunk, but I think you can adjust that and there's a rubber stopper. Or is there two? I don't know, but I think you can adjust that so you don't sink too far. Someone took some fingernail polish and just really brought that back around. But you know what? All this adds up to someone really cared for this car, and I like that. First time that I've been a second owner of one of these, but I've had 5 or 6 different blues, black, never a yeller. What was I doing again? I can't even remember. Oh, we're just going to dump some fuel down her, I think. That's where we're at, right? Got the wiring, redone down here. That didn't work. So I think I'm going to have to rebuild the starter. Luckily, I brought that tool. This might look like part of a jack stand, but it's actually a starter rebuilder 9000. You just got to rejuvenate. There. What did that do? Completely nothing. All right. So she might be stuck into the flywheel here. I'll get a screwdriver in there and do this for about 15 minutes and accomplish nothing. Then I'll come up here and just rotate the engine really easily, which is what I probably should do in the first place, but I'm not. I'm going to start back here, definitely. Use my high quality pry bar here. I did hear a click, so I think the starter drive is just stuck. So now, oh, still nothing. That's just fine. Well, this is gonna get interesting because that exhaust is right in the way. Well, I think it's about 2 hours later. We pulled the starter out and we rebuilt it over here, which was a combination of lighting it on fire and then spraying all of this into it. And we got some rocks and some other stuff out of it, but it works now. I'll show you here. Spins over great. You can see the butterfly already moving, so we got plenty of compression, vacuum. So I think we're ready to just finally dump some stuff down there and see what we get. Since I can't roll the key forward, I got this plugged right into the coil, and that's just coming in here and permanently hooked into the battery over there. And that's the wrong gauge, so this should get really hot and turn into licorice here pretty soon. That's fine. And I think we're good here. I don't think that'll stick. We'll just see what happens. I'm gonna dump a little gasoline in here just in case things go my way and it starts pulling fuel right away. And this is fresh fuel actually, which is pretty rare. Except I don't know how to run this thing. There we go. That's probably good. Enough to start a big fire anyway. I didn't even put any fire maker in it. Let's see if I can fill the bowl. All the time cranking it over, it must have been pulling some sort of fuel from the tank, apparently. Yeah. Well, that caught me a little bit off guard. Yeah. All right, let's try her again. But just like it shut off yesterday. Sounds fantastic. A lot of smoke. Trying to get it to idle down a little bit. This one's definitely a smoker, but that's completely typical. Got to get them rings to come back around, you know, after they sit for a while. And there's a lot of heavy oil on the exhaust in this one. I'm thinking it must have had a rear main out at one point, or maybe the crank snout seal, because they've been into that, like I was saying. But it sounds good. It's not missing. I can hear that, even with the wires all chewed on. I'm not going to get much more play on the carburetor without electricity to choke, and then it's also got some really bad vacuum leaks, so it's going to idle up. But I'm pleased for tonight. I think that's going to do for me. Next step is to actually get an ignition in this thing and then start going through some of the electrical, and probably all I'm going to do is get this thing on a trailer and get her down to Florida as soon as possible. Good morning. It's day 2. back here on the vet, and it didn't really hit me till probably 3 o'clock this morning. I'm so tired from all the driving I've been doing, but this thing fired up immediately. Before I even put gas down, the fuel make it happen. And once we did fill the bowl, sat here and idled like it turned off a week ago. Just mind-boggling. Today, I'm gonna put a key in it, see if we can get the digitals working. I did the right thing and just bought a $12 Master Pro instead of getting the right thing. I've also never tore into a telescope in their steering wheel, so this is gonna get a little interesting. I do have the cheapest steering wheel puller you can buy, so that's fine. So I'm gonna jump in and just start tearing things apart and not document how it goes back together and see if I can get this plugged in. I already got the sparkulators in, and that was not fun. I actually had to use the socket and then use an open-end wrench from the bottom to get all these out. There's not room in here. Got the lightning hoses off, and I just popped this cap off. I wanted to take a look. This is all brand new distributor, ignition module, lightning whirler. This looks absolute. I mean, there's no miles on this. So a lot of evidence that this thing was basically just completely pretty much overhauled, and unfortunately that feller passed away and it just sat and pretty much rotted. It's really a sad thing, but I'm glad I got it. We can get it back on the road at least. But this saves me a bunch of heartache here. Just gonna put that back on. I've already got number 1 indicated, so I'll just put some new wires on it. And I don't have the direct fit, which go way down besides the trans, underneath the Z bar, and then up. I'm gonna have to try to come up over top. And had I been thinking about it, I would have got straight boot, but I got the 90s, so we'll have to get a little creative down here, but we'll make it work. And then I'm looking closer at the vacuum lines. They're all chewed up or really rotten. Pretty much all of this stuff here, I'm just gonna have to come in here and try to eliminate. Some of this is already plugged off anyway, and that should pep it up a little bit. Maybe clean this out. It's still hard for me to describe the smell, but if I can just stir this for you, you could probably kind of picture it. I mean, it's not good. So we're up here on this, and this is how this works. You flip this lever, that unlocks it, and you can, and then you lock her back up. So there's some stuff in here that I'm not used to. So I'm just going to start taking this out and lay it up here and drop some stuff down the defrost and see if I can get this off, because way back here there should be a bolt or a pin. Some of them you have to drill, and then this will just slide right out. But we got a lot of junk to get through before I get to that point. I took the top off here so my brain bucket could slide in and out easier. Oi. Oh, that's the thing that does that thing. There, this all looks familiar now. Making some painful progress. The parts, they keep coming out of this thing. But I'm down to the blinker cam right now. Don't forget to pull your hazard out. But behind this is where we're gonna find that screw, pin. Like I say, sometimes you gotta drill them for this key cylinder to slide out. This is the spring right here that you're fighting against, and you need that lock compressor to push this down and then slide this ring in. And that's what holds all this into place. So now I got to try to worm this out of here, and there's going to be some wires on the back of it for your go left, go right selector here. So on the end of this megamint is a screw that I'm not going to pull out because I'll never get it back into position. But that screw goes right through there, and that's what keeps these cylinders from sliding out. So when you see in Fast and the Furious 12, where they just put a fork and bang these out, yeah, that doesn't happen. So slide the new one in, hopefully get that screw back into position, and then put about half of these parts back in. As long as the horn button goes on it, I'll be happy. The old go left, go right selector's back in. I think I even got it right. Key rolls forward. And now we got a heater motor. All the gauges reset. Tack reset. I think she's ready to rock. We sprayed some 7 in here, try to kill all these ants, and got the passenger door open. This was just jammed up, so I hit her with a Leatherman. Sprayed down the ants in here, but here's a closer look. I mean, this thing is just... we're gonna try to shop vac it, I think, just for a start. See if we can get some of this, whatever kind of congealed liquid that is, out of there. We found the ant home. That was under this, and it was really bad. We sprayed some 7 in there, and I was wiping it out. It looked like mud, but it was just ants. And ran the vacuum. This side was really disgusting. Mike actually tackled that for me. It was like jelly or steak fat. It was really just not pleasant whatsoever. There's no way to save this interior. It's all going to have to be cut out eventually and pressure washed. We know the floor pans don't leak. And I noticed this, which is a good indicator the interior actually was rebuilt. The seat belts are backwards. So someone got in a hurry and tied them in wrong. But I think it's time. I got the key in. So let's see if this thing fires up with the key and start running some of the electronics through the paces. Now we'll have a choke as well, so we can get that thing running right. And might even just ease it around the block here. See if the clutch works and the brakes. This window did roll down a little bit. I'm just a little nervous she's gonna get stuck, so I'll play with that a little later. Oh, that's my fault. I didn't hook up the 12 volt back to the distributor after I unhooked my permanent temporary. And might as well hook up the tack since I'm here. All right, try her again. It's the door squeaking. Got a clutch. Temp gauge seems to be working. Fuel gauge has changed. It used to say half. Now it says like 3/4. It's charging, and the oil pressure gauge is definitely unhooked. There we go. But it should idle down one more step once it gets warm. Sounds good. Running a little rough. Sure is shaking. We'll let it heat up a little bit though. We'll check the coolant in a minute. Oil pressure gauge is back. Fluctuating a little bit. Might just be a loose wire on that. Gotta check the coolant. And then look at this thing burning all that oil off. There's a lot down there. And then we'll do the Italian tune-up a little bit. See if we can get this to smooth out. But the great news is we've got a clutch. And I think just a dab of brakes, actually. I haven't even popped the cap on the master yet. So this is just turning into a going to town rig pretty quick. In fact, why don't we just quick pop this off. That's kind of a poor design. One's full, one's empty. Usually that means one of the lines is popped. That real bad shake's almost gone. I still have a couple vacuum leaks I gotta fix. And the smoke, just a little bit, but it's a heck of a lot better. So she's coming back around. Says it's about 160 degrees. So our temp gauge is accurate. Rad's at about 160. And thermostat next 170, 173. So far, everything's looking good. Well, let's take her for a spin. First drive in 8 million years. It's got a good clutch. I mean, that's right now. Second gear, shifts great. I remember the other thing I don't like about these cars, other than the obvious head clearance and I'm slouching, is my foot wants to hit the brake and the gas pedal at the same time, which is normally ideal, but not so good in town. Seems to steer just fine. This visor is the wrong direction. This, ouch! Let's bring her up. Bring it up this way. There we go. I think that all the gauges might actually, the clock is turning. I'll be dimmed. What if I set it? Then what happens? I don't know. Forgot to test the radio. The rhythm is the bass and the bass is the treble, but it's not working. I am just lost at this point. Main thing is I just want to get her nice and hot and see how the head gaskets are holding up. Then I can pull the old dipstick again, see if we got any water or coolant in there. Boy, she is gutless. I think I only have back brakes, which is not what I'm looking for at this point. Good private drive. I need to, you're gonna need to scooch back here. Beep, beep. Smoke screen engaged. Well, we've got good clutch feel. That's the other thing. Yeah, this is not gonna spin out. That's pretty much the opposite of a burnout car, Derek. Great. We got water flooding the floor again. Is this a porta potty? It is. It's a nice looking one. Well, believe you me, no. Yeah. I think I'm just gonna hand wash this thing down a little bit. See what she looks like. Mazel. I'm going to be using the Spray Away Tire Shine High Gloss. Really love this stuff. Works really, really good. I want to hang on to these tiger paws. You guys know how old these are. It's going to be quite the challenge for this, but I'm confident it's going to work fine. I'm actually going to put one layer on and I'll scrub it off, let it dry because I'm sure it's going to soak it in. Then I'll come back again and just mist it on. And I bet you we can bring it back around. Sprayway's got me covered on the paint here too. If you've already got a good wax or a sealer on your paint, you can run over it with the speed detailer. This is great for just a quick cleanup, or you run into a car show, something like that. You just mist it on, wipe it off. Works really well. Or you can step it up to the ceramic wax here, which is what I'm gonna do. Just shake it up real good, work one area at a time, just mist it on, work it in with a microfiber. And I bet we can bring even more sparkle up, but this paint is actually, other than a few blemishes, in really good shape. I mean, it's got a lot of shine to it yet, which is great. It'd be a nice 20-footer, but we've got some bubbling, some paint adhesion issues here and there, but it's starting to clean up pretty good. That looks a lot better, and the paint is just so much more smooth. It's got all that harsh feeling out of it. Gonna move on to the glass. Of course, you got the classic sprayway for that. Get the universe roof and all this cleaned up. Gonna mist in some of this interior detailer high gloss, and then up here on the dash I'll just spray it on a rag and smooth it around. I'm sure this is going to really drink it up. Might take a few coats again, but little goes a long way with this stuff. But I'm just going to really just get her in there. On the other door I use the interior detail high gloss. If I come in and use this leather cleaner and conditioner, which also works on vinyl, look at this area I rubbed in here, and this is in horrible shape, but I just soak my rag down, wipe it in, and it cleans it, conditions it, and it gives it just the right amount of shine. Well, my Uncle Mike and I have been just bringing the shine down on her, and it looks snazzy. This is easily a going to town unit. Paint looks great. I'll show you the interior. It actually came around a little bit too. We hit it a second time with the vacuum, but door panels look great. These dang ants just keep coming back. Got the back pulled out, cleaned up a little bit. We did figure out that the interior was a dark brown, and we also fixed the window. This rolls up and down, and we took the panel off and just kind of gooped her up. And the headlights also come up. All 4 lights work. This side sticks a little bit. You got to push down here. I think a guy can adjust on that though, pretty sure. These ants in this water just keep coming. Look at all those dead ants. And we keep spraying stuff in here, and they just keep coming back and running. I'm gonna go to Walmart and get 57,000 traps, I think, lay down in there. I think I'm gonna take her out and test on her one more time and just really feed her the coal. See if I get these circulating. And then I gotta get this baby loaded up and head for Florida. I don't have much time to get there and get to work on this thing. A lot of little things I still need to finish up. guy is really pleased with how the Corvette's turning out so far. It is sharper than a knife. I got one day to make it from Tennessee all the way down to Florida, so I'm going to get this loaded and just start making trails. Big thank you to my aunt and uncle, Mike and Kim. Your hospitality and kindness and help is very, very much appreciated. I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. Plus the food was it was really good. Also, thanks to Joe for the connection, getting me hooked up, buying this here vehicle. We'll see you guys next time.